chanting Guru Vandana and Aarti of Babaji. So that is we will do today, followed by full moon meditation. So this after the meditation, we will have we'll seek Babaji's blessings. He has already, as it is his lovingly granted us permission to wish 3 grants of what your 3 wishes, what you have. We'll do that process of manifesting those individually, so that you need not to tell anyone or ask anywhere. You have to just keep it within you. So when the time will come, I'll explain you the process, how to manifest that. Welcome Vikas, welcome Shaival. So how to manifest that, we'll have a process. So those of you attended the previous session, they can attend again, no issues. Okay, so you can have those 3 that wishes granted, and then followed by then we'll have Shanti Path and the closeout. So that will be the total program today. So we shall start with our learning session and satsang. So this is will be on the significance of Guru Tattva. So first, just to get a reminder that who is Guru, what does that Guru word means, and it can be recapitulation from some of you who are new into our group. That is for you to learn that this is, and then we can go further deep into that subject. So Guru has a 2-part, Gu and Ru. In Sanskrit, that means Gu means the darkness, and Ru who dispels it, who removes it. So Guru in the literally meaning is one who dispels the darkness. Okay, now the question is, what darkness? This is the darkness of ignorance. So ignorance, we normally don't consider ourselves as ignorant people. We are educated. We are, a lot of us have huge degrees and a lot of universities, higher qualifications, things like that. So this, we are not talking about that. We are talking about experiential understanding of the truth or the universal knowledge. Universal consciousness is the one from where everything is created. That is the universal consciousness, which is coming directly from universal consciousness, is called universal knowledge. And this, to get that downloaded directly, so that is your experiential understanding of that universal knowledge. So if it is not direct, then it is an interpreted versions, no matter who downloaded it. So those are indirect. We are not talking about that. Everything is indirectly acquired, like somebody else has downloaded and distributed, and you listen to it, read it. Those are called gyan. Means everything is knowledge in English, but in the Sanskrit, gyan means it is indirect, and pragya means which is developed out of that direct first-hand experience of universal knowledge, not everything. And once it settles, the truth settles on your own, then it is called pragyavan. And you can say in my spiritual name that Rishi Pragyanand. Pragyanand means who enjoys that pragya, which is downloaded, unfiltered, direct version of that. That is the aim to be achieved. Normally, we have given by our Guru the name, what you wanted to achieve, what is your goal, spiritual goal. So in my name, just in the context I'm saying, it is nothing to do directly with the guru. So Pragyanand means that, Pragya, and Anubhuti is experience without experiencer. If there is an experience and somebody is experiencing that, it is called Anubhav. आपका अनुभव कैसा है? That is the right question. But here in the spiritual domain, the personality should go. I, the ego should go. So what remains is a pure awareness. It is not about how somebody is feeling about it. It is what it is. It is difficult to explain in words. That is called Anubhuti. Anubhuti means there is no one there. It is pure by itself. That is called Anubhuti. So in the spiritual path, all our personality stuff, all ego stuff has to get dropped, and what remains is that pure awareness, the Anubhuti, the direct experience without any experiencer. Anyway, so now let me come back to the Guru. Already I told the meaning of Guru is who dispels darkness. Okay. And this, you can see it in the many, different religions. Many different teachers are telling about all the darkness, and the name itself, enlightenment, is a light there. That is a light of awareness. And so opposite is darkness of ignorance. In Buddhism, they follow tamoso ma jyotirgamaya. Okay. Tamoso means the darkness. From the darkness to the full of light, jyoti. Tamoso ma jyoti. Ma means me. Please take me from the darkness towards the light. And exactly that is the role of a guru. To bring from the darkness of ignorance, so to that, how to get that pure, direct understanding of the truth. Guru's job is not to spoon feed you everything. Just understand that. Guru is not there to download and serve you. Guru will establish the connection, and that's it. Then rest of the things will happen on its own. Means you can say in other words, like the process is just explained this way. Some people, they're awakened consciousness. So it can be told that their light are lit, like I say, as a lamp is glowing. And many people, their lamps are not glowing. So first step is to make the lamp ready. That is the sadhana when it comes. Then when a person with a lit lamp comes in contact with that somebody's lamp is not lit yet, come in touch with it, the light jumps over to the other one. If it is ready, it will start glowing. So this one lamp can lit 10 lamps without losing anything. Okay, that's why it is called that the lit lamp is a symbolism of a guru, and unlit lamp is symbolism of the seekers. They wanted to lit their lamp. So what Guru does, Guru brings his own light and come in touch, only thing, the requirement from the followers, or not followers, the spiritual seekers, to get ready. If, that the divine timing comes, Guru comes and try to impart that. If a lamp is not ready, it will not lit. Instead of oil, there is a water, it will not lit. If lamp is outside down, it will not lit. So there are some duties involved here to all the spiritual seekers to get ready. And that's what also be taught, to get it ready. So when the divine timing comes, then that within an instant, it doesn't take time. Getting ready takes time, but actual process doesn't take time. It happens in an instant. Guru Kripa happens and the light is lit. So, and saying so, it is not that this kind of experiences cannot be given. Some experiences can be temporarily given. In fact, for every 6-step meditation and the final step, we go into that zone. And but the thing is, it is not sustained, because those where lamps are not lit, there it is a borrowed experience. In absence of that guru, that will not happen. Okay, but just to give, sometimes when there's some food is prepared, there's some people, they give some food to test. No, you test it and tell how it is. So it is just a matter of giving test, but it is not everything. So that is to inspire the seeker to go further onward. Okay, now this let me come to a little bit of practical things. Practical things about that. Most of the people think. Okay, now before I go to that, let me tell you what is Guru Tattva. Okay. See, Guru is just a representative of Guru Mandala. Guru Mandala is an entity, from where all this guidance are coming. It's a motherboard or server or whatever you think about it, but it is from there. In there, you have lifetime after lifetime on planet Earth. All your gurus and past gurus are sitting there. Even in this life, if you have any guru, they are all sitting there. So what they do is, like whenever you are ready, they have all the knowledge. So no, you need not to tell them what you want. They know your level, how much you achieved, how much you can absorb, and what is your level of awareness. Accordingly, they will send a representative to you. That representative will come maybe from unexpected sources, or somebody, suddenly appear in your life, or suddenly will get a contact. Somebody will come and teach you something. That person is sent by the Guru Mandala. Okay, so only thing in that case, you have to say yes. You have a free will to accept that offer and not to accept that offer. It is always there. That free will is always there. You have always right, I sarcastically call it, you have a right not to know something. It is your right. Okay, in any form. I don't care, I don't believe, whatever you say it. You have full right to be ignorant, and be ignorant rest of your life. Nobody will pressurize you, or nobody will come with a marketing thing. Nobody will come with a convincing thing to be in the spirituality. Because this is something should come from inside. It cannot be imposed. Either you are ready or you are not. Okay. A lamp is full of water. It will not lit. Even though the guru comes in contact with that particular, the lit lamp comes in contact with that lamp. So it is not the role of the lit lamp to convince the non-lit lamp to fill the oil and change it and then get ready. It's not. It will just come and it will just serve and go. That's it. So in that sense, it will only, when you are ready, that guru will be sent to you. You may not find it attractive. You may not find it is good looking, or any criteria you have. He may find, oh, he or she is not that knowledgeable, is not in my category, sort of thing. Okay, that is all your mind game. But Guru Mandala knows exactly what you need at that time. Yeah, I put it in a different way. I say, not everybody likes all types of food. Huh? Somebody likes, Mughlai food. Somebody likes, Punjabi food. Somebody likes South Indian food. Somebody like Mexican. Somebody Chinese. So in that, and we have also different types of food type, same thing, different type of preparations. We don't like the taste of that. Like if somebody offer me a beef burger, I will not take it. No matter how much they convince me it is very nutritious, it has got a lot of protein and this, I will not take it. As simple as that. So that means no matter what the content of the guru is, there should be some frequency matching. The language, that understanding, it has to come to the level matching thing. It is nothing to do with the guru. It is what taste you have. Accordingly, that representative will be sent to you. Here we are all sitting here, we are all educated intellectual people. So the guru who will come in your life will be an intellectual who has seen it and who is also educated, who can talk your language, who understand that professional commitments, who understand the family commitments. That type of guru you will get. You will not guru a which is Naga Sannyasi, say, because you cannot invite or communicate with that kind of guru. But there is no disrespect. That is a different path. Every day, if somebody offered you Mexican food, you will not able to survive with that. You don't need that. Okay, 1 or 2 times go to restaurant, have it, something is okay. But you cannot live on that. We have our own taste. No matter how people convince you, no, it has got a protein, carbohydrate, and this and that and all that. But still, you will not, if you don't like some food, you will not be able to continue for long. Okay. So that part of the question is that how I can find my guru? Answer is not to find. Only thing you have to be ready. Guru will come. When your inner call is there, that now I'm perplexed, I need to some way out, please pray to anyone you believe. Even during the initiation, I tell to whom you believe, you pray to him and her. Because everything goes to the same place. Everything goes to the Guru Mandala, actually. It is your idea of who is on the top, who is Dev, who is Devi, who is, the master or whatever, higher entities, as per your thought pattern, as per your conditioning, you are asking, and nothing wrong in that. Only thing, what initially the guru wants to get connected to that divinity. It all ultimately goes to the same source. Whether it is this religion, that religion, doesn't matter. Whether you pray to Jesus Christ or Gautam Buddha, it doesn't matter. It goes to the same place. Same energy flows through as a divine flow. And that divine flow of energy is called Guru Tattva, which comes from the Guru Mandala, which is custom made for you. As I said, the Guru will come who is right for you, who can give at the right time, right kind of knowledge based on your requirement and your level of awareness. Even class 5 student, some PhD guide comes and gives some lecture on calculus, then nobody will understand anything. The purpose of the class is ruined. Even though the teacher who is a PhD guy is highly educated, no question about that. So what I'm saying is, it is only your idea about higher and lower, that spoils the broth. Guru Mandala knows exactly which class you are, what teacher you need. Don't go into teacher's qualification. It's not your job. Okay. If somebody comes to you, it is sent by that Guru Mandala. Again, I'm saying you have a choice to accept or reject, but you don't need to choose. You are not competent to choose. Like in the school, as a class 5, say, I'm giving example, class 5 student doesn't have a right how the teacher selections are made. What should be the qualification? For that there is a board. No? Here is Guru Mandala is that board. You don't have to bother whether Guru Mandala is working properly or not, or they are corrupt. Don't bother about that. Okay. You have to just attend the class. But that level where it is coming is called purity. Corruption is not possible. Simply not possible. So, means, so how I'm saying not possible? Suppose, can you live in the middle of a fire? You cannot live, no? It's not possible that you can live inside a fire. Similarly, in the domain of corruption, this Guru Mandala that cannot survive. It is not possible. Okay, when the Guru Mandala is operating, it is beyond all this negativity, all this stuff. That is operating level. Okay. Anyway, so this is about the Guru, but now let me dispel few myths about the Guru from the practical point of view, from the seeker's point of view. First of all, you need to understand. I know, and many of you heard stories. So many people got cheated in this Gurudom by somebody in the name of Guru and all those things. See, thugs are there everywhere, every profession. The cheaters are there everywhere. That does not mean that the original, that subject doesn't exist. What happens is this. So how can I identify that the person is this, cheated and thugs and thing and not the genuine? First thing you see whether it is personality cult based or it is surrender based, like it is a giving connection to you. If it is personality based, everything is given to you as if somebody is saying, I am giving it to you, I am this, I am this. Chant my name 108 times in the morning, worship my photo, this kind of stuff, be careful. Okay, it is a Guru Tattva, flow of energy from Guru Mandala. It is flowing through that Guru. Guru is only conduit. Guru is not the source of that. If anyone claims that it is source, it is coming from me, it is dangerous. It is another ego. It is just those masters, true masters, are saying, even this knowledge does not belong to me. It is truth. Blessings doesn't belong to me. I am not blessing you. Somebody, higher up, Guru Mandala is blessing you. You are getting healed. I am not healing you. I am channeling healing for you. The moment any kind of I-ness has come, Guru doesn't exist there. And on the other way around, as I said, you have to bow down to the Guru Tattva. Okay, the flow. So right kind of framing is, I bow down to the Guru Tattva flowing through you. That is correct. And that, from wherever the flow comes, suppose you learn something, suppose you learn Kriya Yoga. You have to bow down not to the personality, to the lineage, the flow. You received Kriya Yoga, say, from me, and I have received from Guruji Brahmarshi Prem Nirmal. He received directly from Babaji. The one you learned. There are a lot of Kriya, by the way. There are many Kriya techniques, not one. What you learned is called Nirmal Kriya. That one, that particular technique, so it came from Babaji to Guruji, Dr. Premji Nirmal, then through me, and then to you. Okay, this is your lineage. So you have to be respectful to this lineage, not a person, not to me per se. I have not created it. Okay. So this, but so many people, they feel discomfort on later part of the spiritual journey, they don't find something is not right and things like that. Just if you analyze, then you realize that they are concentrating on the personality, not the Guru Tattva. If you depend on a personality, there is a chance of getting cheated will come, or liking, disliking will come. Because anybody in any higher master in spiritual body, physical body, will have limitations. We'll have opinion, we'll have likes, dislikes, things like that. Okay. So don't put your physical, from whomsoever that's the channel you are getting this, in ideal position and compare with ideal thing. Maybe he said something we didn't like. It is possible. Because that is the version of personality. But when you receive that, the Kriya Yoga itself, or the direct first-hand knowledge, those are channeled. Means it is came from some higher dimension and flow through that Guru. There is no personality involved here. Okay, so you need to take what is in the Guru Tattva and drop the personality factors. It is your duty to distinguish between two. I'm not saying you insult that person, but what I'm saying is respectfully, don't go into the personality thing. Oh, he talks like that, and also somebody says, and he did so and so things. Doesn't matter. This is his personal life. Okay, it's not ideal, because this is also everybody come here to learn certain things and the lessons. So that is the reason. Don't go with the physical aspects of your Guru. Go to the essence of that. Okay, when you go to a flower, take the essence. Don't criticize, okay, why the two leaves are less here, and why there is a thorn here and there. It doesn't matter. Just take whatever it suits you, and rest you just forget about it. You ignore. It is not your business. Okay. All the gurus in physical body, living master, they have to undergo the mundane activities of life. I was telling, jokingly, when, any master, they also have to shave every day and all this kind of stuff. So they are not beyond these mundane things of life. Some people ask me that how come so-and-so, say suppose somebody cheated money from me. How it is possible that you are spiritually evolved and all. But spiritually evolved doesn't mean that no thug and, dacoit and, what is called robber cannot probe me. It's in a physical level. And that's why our the principle out of 4, we have given we are one principle in this world, how to live. There are 4 lines, 8 words. First of which, protect physically. You have to protect yourself. You can get cheated, you can get mugged, somebody can crash open your door of your house. These are all practical things. You cannot do that. It is their free will. They will bind huge karma. That is a different issue. Okay. But you have to protect yourself. The master like Jesus Christ got killed by crucifixion, nailed on the hand and the leg, right? So it is not about somebody cannot do any harm or something. So don't go into that illusion that, if I become spiritual, all other people also get, purified. No. You have to protect still yourself. In that, so all the masters, they know it. So they sometimes do something to protect themselves. Even they do some tricks so that unnecessary people don't come near them. Okay. See, suppose, how do I say? Suppose somebody is came here to inquire how a master can create something. Suppose Rolex watch or anything. Yeah. So we know the technology how to do it. By the way, it is not stolen. I'm just telling you, the Rolex watch is not stolen from anywhere. You know, somebody might have gifted to him. He kept it in a room, so he can do that molecule by molecule. It can be shifted in the hand, and that he can present to anyone. That is what normally happens. That's why that Rolex watch has a serial number, and somebody produces. Somebody say, "Oh, he creates Rolex number. Rolex company will get. They lost their revenue." It's not that. Somebody actually bought and gifted to him, and he is doing it this way, giving it to somebody else. Nobody is cheated here. But anyway, if somebody goes, a lot of people goes with a doubting mind and try to find out if there is any kind of trick involved here. So he is just hiding behind the window with a camera to find out what that master is doing in his room. That master, he knows. By the way, let me tell you, I'm not telling that there are not cheats are not there. As I told in the beginning, there may be thugs. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking genuine master who can do that. I'm talking how they deal with these things. That particular person, their intention is not to learn, not to grow themselves or something, just to throw some, a news article or write something about that. Okay. So he will be seen. Actually, the master is, taking the watch and things and putting into the hand something. He will see that. He has been shown that way. He writes some article. He's happy, gone. That's it. Okay. Because in that level, it doesn't matter what somebody is writing. It does not need qualification and approval from anyone. But because otherwise that fellow will come every day and try to look through this, camera and in his window. No? So you want to get rid of him. So he gave him whatever he needs. No? So things work that way. So that is a different thing. What I'm saying is that don't go at what they're doing, what they're saying, and criticizing their methods. Sometimes to make things understandable to people, we need to sometimes calm down and custom made things which can limit the truth. Let me tell you that. You might have seen that I don't encourage any social media thing to forward and then we discuss here, correct or not correct. Why? It is because most of this social media stuff, whatever is doing, is 90% or more than that are not true, or they filtered. Like somebody has passed it on to somebody, added one line there, or title may be misleading, or something they have done. We don't know. Okay. There is no point in discussing something which is source is questionable. It is not direct experience. We can discuss if you have some direct experience. We can discuss that. We can, of course. But why we don't do that? Then what is happening is in that particular, what is called cooked up thing, you become a part of that. You get completely confused. So, but somebody said, Swami Vivekananda said this. Do you have any way to confirm that it's really Swami Vivekananda said those things are not? No. So why are you taking from there? Okay. Take from some source which is authenticated. Okay. If you really wanted to know what Swami Vivekananda said, best way to meditate and communicate with him. He is there in the other dimension. I communicated with him many times. It is a different issue. I had some past life with him. Do it directly. No? You learn how to do that. Go to that state and communicate. It's very well possible to communicate with the masters. Question answer, not pray. Pray is one way, question answer. There are many in our group also that develop that ability to communicate with the higher dimensional masters. Question answer. Ask a question, get an answer. So why you depend upon this media and thing stuff? You want some clarity, you get it. Okay, so that is the way. And why I'm saying is, it is not limited to that. Even if you see our so-called policy type of thing written there, we also discourage you to discuss scriptures here. Discourage you to discuss what other master says. Why is that? Because this part this part is very interesting. Scriptures, there are a lot of things there, and they are for the different levels. It's like a it is like a forest full of all types of plants. Not all fruits are eatable. You will not know. You bring something from the forest. Nothing wrong with the forest. Nothing wrong with the tree. But you don't know which fruit to eat. You will jump into the low-hanging fruit, eat, which is not good for you. You may be that class 5 student, clinging on to the PhD student stuff. That will confuse you. I have seen people in my own experience that drop out from spirituality. They got completely confused. This scripture says this, Gita says that, oh, Bible says this, Quran says this. Get lost all of this. It's not important. What is written where? And which master said what? It does not matter. The truth is, it is confusing you. As your guide, it is my duty to cut short of these things, even though it is scriptures, even though it is told by the masters. It is not about them. It is not about that. It is you. You are contaminating your path. You are complicating your path, my dear, by going into all those things. Discussion about why so-and-so clause has been written in Gita. Forget about that. You have to simply follow simple instruction towards your enlightenment. After your enlightenment, you will know it all. Then you read Gita, then you read Quran, then you read Bible. It will be fully understandable to you. Oh, I see. The way I explain is, you already reached to the peak of that mountain. Now you can see all the paths coming from which direction. So don't fight when you are not climbed yet. You are at the bottom of the mountain. You will not see the other part of the road. No? That's why you're fighting, and that is not the time to fight. Wasting of time. You get confused. So that is why, see, it is also, I'm explaining why this is, it is also explaining that it is also role of your guru to prepare the path for you in the jungle, in the forest, show you the path to way out. Not to get stuck into every lower hanging fruits on the way. That fruit is not good for you. Something may be poison. That's why. So it is nothing to do with the truth. Truth is, everything is true. All scriptures, what is written is true. But you are not yet ready for that. And that's why it is. Some truths are, you cannot digest. Other day I was explaining the date of your death. It is there in your soul's plan. It can be downloaded and read. I know which date it will be mine. It will not given it to you because you are not ready yet. You don't have that kind of spiritual maturity to get this kind of informations. If somebody says that I know what is the date of my death, he's not telling the false thing. That is true. Why it is not, you don't know, because you are not ready yet. And as a guru or guide, it is my duty to protect you from all these type of things, to the gimmickry, all this type of contaminated knowledge, and fighting with something which is absolutely not essential. You will know it all when you reach there. So my role is to just to encourage you and show the right path in the middle of the forest, not to hanging into any tree coming on the way. Is that clear? Okay. Then why? Because then you reach to the other side of the forest faster with a minimum time. Otherwise, you spend so much of time in all those trees and what is coming and why this so-called other sources, then you got stuck there, you may not move forward. That is the reason. This is what I'm explaining. Sometimes it is also Guru's duty to come down from the truth. Say, don't go and don't read this, don't read that. It is not because they are not true. It is because you don't need them right now. They have to cut short that for you. They said, don't read that. It does not mean he's disrespecting that. No. Other master, don't read other master. It is not that they're disrespecting other masters. They're protecting you from getting this, getting confused and diverged into and spending time, effort, and, feeling mad about something. Okay. If you are taught you have to do Kriya by doing like this, you don't argue. If somebody is telling you have to do like this, don't go into that. Let them follow their method. Okay. Suppose you learn certain breathing technique. You said, oh, I learned from Baba Ramdev, it should be done this way and that. Don't go into that. I'm not criticizing Baba Ramdev, but for you, you just do whatever you learned. Okay. Because that will take you faster. Then get confused with what Baba Ramdev said or what Jaggi Vasudev said or what Shishi said. Okay. That's why. I have full respect to them. But for you, you just follow whatever you learn. It does not coming from the ego that I get annoyed, I teach you something, still you are getting from them. It is not that. Okay. It is not that. It is for you. Also, this issue, I see another issue comes about the brand name. Okay. People when looking for a guru, they want a big brand name. I'm so and so connected with so and so. Let me tell you that another truth. Your guru should have time to have one-on-one conversation and teaching you one by one when you need it. Okay, if somebody does not have time one-on-one for you, okay, frequency, I'm not saying daily, but at least few days in a year or whenever you contact, you should respond some reasonable amount of time. If you don't have that, that guru is not fit for you. Nothing wrong with that guru. If to get an appointment, you need, say, a few months' time or 2 years' time, or to make the appointment faster, you have to pay certain amount. So you have to pay $5,000 to take an appointment with some master. That master is not good for you. That master may be great. What you are praying for is the brand name. It will not work for you. Okay. This everything is known by the Guru Mandala. That's why they are sending you somebody who can come to your level, who can afford you some time, and you can get whatever you need. Enlightenment and this kind of, your doubt cannot be cleared when you are sitting in a hall with 20,000 people. Huh? You are listening to Master's voice in a microphone. You cannot clear your doubt. Because your doubts are unique. You need a custom-made solution. Otherwise, you become one of the public. Everything is there. Everything is written in the scriptures. Everything Master tells are correct. But it is not good for you. Because when you need it, this is not made available to you that time. That's why it is not good for you. So be careful not to go with the brand name. If somebody is high brand name having time for you, absolutely, definitely. Why not? Go for that. Okay, I'm not saying all the masters who are having a big brand name are bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you consider from your point of view, your access to the master. And most of the experiences, more the higher brand name masters, more layers you have to cross. There are 3 layers before you actually even take an appointment. There are layers. Okay. Even if you are ready to pay, ready to this and that, and still there is the layers, and you will be in the waiting list and things like that. So this kind of nonsense. So anyway, so that is so this is one of the thing. So, and if you have any kind of bad experience with any guru, if you just find out properly, the divine cannot cheat you. The Guru Mandala cannot cheat you, because it, as I explained, it cannot happen there. Some human being has cheated you in the name of Guru Mandala. That is possible. Okay. I have seen many who doesn't believe in Guru and things like that. And then I sit down. I normally don't try to convince anyone because it is their personal choice. But some cases when I sit down with them, understand what happened, ultimately come down to the thing, okay, in the childhood, there are some guru they were following, and their mother used to follow, parents used to follow some guru, and that guru cheated them. After that, this whole family, they have, given a complete disrespect of any guru whatsoever. Okay. So I said, look, here, where you show me where the divine has cheated you. Some person has cheated you, money, whatever. They promised something that he has not given you, or whatever. But divine cannot cheat you. You drop that person, not the divinity. The reason is there is no way out. It is our own exit path from this planet Earth, the spirituality. This kind of thing, getting cheated by thugs are there everywhere. Okay, so don't get stuck with that. Try to keep your eyes open. Try to see that, which path you are following. All of you, listen this part very carefully. All of you has an instrument within you. Okay. It can have a feeling something is not right. No. If you talk to any person claiming to be guru, if you feel something is not right, something is, then better not to pursue. There may be truly, energetically, you can take that vibe that something is wrong. And once you get that connection, you feel with somebody that, you can get a, what is called that, something resonates with you, your inner side, then you accept that. Don't go into mental analysis that how many followers that person is having, and where she lives, what is the lifestyle, and all this kind of stuff. That's not necessary. You want to progress in your path, so you need to get that individual attention, and you need to know something that your guru need to clarify your doubts and tell you the truth from his or her direct experiential understanding. If somebody is coming and reading scriptures, that may not be your right guru for you. Okay, that's the teacher. There are many good teachers. Nothing wrong with that. Many people go to listen to this scriptures reading. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. But the gurus are not that. Gurus are not better teachers. Gurus are completely different kind. They show you the light and then guide you where to go. They will not take you there. say the example of lit lamp, etc. Guru will not giving the light on behalf of you. No, it is your light. Only initially Guru's job is to lit it, and that's it. Then it is your expression. It is your unique spiritual journey. Whenever you need, consult it and move on. And that is why also it is said that Guru is like road signs. It can tell you which direction to go because Guru has already walked the path before. So he or she knows. Guru is only stop you if you deviate from there. Then he will tell you, this is not the right way, go in this direction. Somebody can be faster, somebody can be slower, it doesn't matter. As long as the direction is correct. Everybody having their own pace. And suppose in the case of walking, particularly those who have experienced the mountain hiking and trekking, they know everybody has their own pace. Doesn't matter what others consider is a fast or slow or whatever. If you break that, if you don't allow somebody to go walk with his or her own pace, that cannot reach to the destination. You'll feel completely tired, exhausted, and things like that. So those who have done this mountaineering, trekking, they know everybody is given the liberty to walk on their own, at their own pace. And everybody reaches destination. Somebody did earlier, somebody a little later, it's all fine. But if you try to match your pace with others, there'll be desynchronization will happen and you will be getting very tired within 1 or 2 kilometers. Same here. Your Guru knows exactly where your pace is. And it will be providing guidance accordingly. It will not try to break your pace because if your pace is broken, you cannot even walk a single mile. So that is why also any Guru who is in your best interest discourage you to compare among yourself. What is your progress? It doesn't matter. The other person walking his or her own pace. You are walking in your pace. Only Guru had to ensure you are walking at your own pace, not copying from anybody else. Because it will be detrimental for you. That's why. Whoever is faster, slower, doesn't matter. As long as at the end of the day, you reach to the whatever 15, 12 kilometers away the next camp is, you reach there and that's it. Your destination is reached. It is more important to reaching to the destination comfortably rather than doing some competition and getting tired in the midway and drop out. Then some other people come with a stretcher to take you out. That's not the way. Okay, so respect your own path, your own pace. That's why when somebody asked me, Guruji, how I'm going, I said, all fine. Because I don't see anything abnormal in that. You are truly fine. Back of the mind, saying so-and-so got this, I'm not getting this and all. It's all nonsense. It's a mind game. You are actually fine with respect to you. Okay. Only your Guru had to ensure that you got get distracted. Either overjoyous comparing with someone or frustrated with comparing with someone. Both are equally not welcome, not acceptable on the spiritual journey. All right. Another important thing is, which I write, it is so important. I have written in my introduction also. What is my understanding of the spiritual journey? Or who is your best Guru? Your best Guru is your soul consciousness. Your soul is with you for lifetime after lifetime. It knows your past births, definitely this birth in the past. It knows what is the purpose of this life and how it is going to. Which is your life path, where you will be succeeding, everything is there. There cannot be any better Guru than your inner Guru. That's why it's called inner Guru, your soul consciousness. External guru's job is only to establish connection with your inner guru, so that your inner guru can guide you moment by moment. Every moment, you need not to bother about, you need to apply your brain that what should be I doing and not doing and this and that. You have to simply surrender to your higher self and get guide. Unless until you call, you invite, it will not interfere, because there is a free will contract. With your free will, you have to invite, please guide me moment by moment. When that channel is established permanently, I call it it's a broadband connection, 24/7 connection. Each and every living moment, you are getting guided from your higher self. Your higher self knows everything. It is connected to the universal consciousness. Okay, so anything you need at that particular moment of time, it will be downloaded. If something happened from your past life, experience can be downloaded. What is the right choice for your future? It knows your future, it will be downloaded that moment. Just go with that, your inner feeling, and move forward. And that is the way. It is called the moment, living in the now moment. Like every time you are in the present moment. And when this broadband connection established, that is called the awakening or enlightenment. Fully established. We go into this connection when we go into the expanded awareness mode, and we can experience that. That is a different type of things. So mind has been quietened and you get access. You will be able to communicate and listen and take that to guide you further into that one. So inner guru is your best guru, and purpose of your sadhana is to establish full broadband connection or direct communication all the time, full communication with your soul consciousness. That is the purpose of your spiritual journey. That is the spirituality is all about. To get connected with your spirit self, which is a higher self. And the spirit self, in other words, it is called the energetic self, not the physical one. Okay. So connect with that bundle of energy and then get guidance from there. So that is called the inner guru awaken. So you have any, that completes the satsang for learning session. So you have any question, you can ask me. Yes, Chaitali.
Sir,
Yeah, Uma, I'll come back to you. Chaitali, go ahead.
Guruji, today's morning class also I have joined. So at that time I wished for 3 things, and again in this time also again that thing will repeat, na? So I will wish for same 3 things or another 3 things.
No, the answer is in that moment, whatever comes to you. That is the right thing for you. It may be same, may not be same. Doesn't matter, basically.
Okay.
Or in other words, you don't have to ask the same 3 things.
Okay.
Whatever comes in that moment, you ask for that. If same thing comes, you ask same thing. If different thing comes, ask different thing.
Okay.
Go with that moment. You will be guided by your soul consciousness. Just now I explained. No? Only thing you can say, what is best interest, give it to me. Because sometimes what you ask for, that may not be your best interest. Okay. So it is so-called spiritually smart. It is a spiritually smart is oxymoron. But if you are spiritually smart, you say, whatever is in best interest for me, let that be manifested.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay. God bless you. Uma, go
Guruji,
ahead.
I want to say one more thing.
Oh, one more. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not a question. I am showing my gratitude for your healing and Babaji's healing. That today's class I am sitting. I'm not supposed to sit, but today I'm sitting here for doing this meditation.
Great.
Thank you
God
for
bless.
that.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uma, go ahead.
Namaste, Guruji. Guruji, what the question is, what's the quality a seeker should have?
The quality.
What quality should seeker?
Quality of the teacher should be not teacher, guru, you mean. Quality of teacher is a huge knowledge, collected knowledge. But the guru, who is a guide.
Seeker. She said seeker.
Oh, seeker. Oh,
Seeker.
Sorry. I heard teacher. I'm sorry. No, that's a good question. See, the seeker first and foremost is that you have to listen to whatever the words are coming out of your guru's mouth, because guru is connected. Okay, it is not guru who is telling. You have to accept that as it is called Guru Vakya Satyam. Means if you have create any kind of doubt, then whatever actually you need will not reach to you. Okay. So that it is important, two things you have to maintain. One is clarity of your mind, or better if there is no thought in your mind, so that there is no analysis going on. And secondly, love and gratitude in your heart. Those seekers get maximum who are connected with the guru. And that connection, best connection, is love and gratitude. Pure love I'm talking. It's none of the love normally people use. None of them. It is a pure love. Okay. So that is the best way you can get that knowledge. And practically speaking, don't, stop asking any question. You have a right to ask the question to your guru. If you need to even test your guru, do that in your own way. But end of that, like I gave example, Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev in his, below his bed, Vivekananda, his name was Naren that time, he put one coin below his bed to check whether he can sense that money or not. Okay. And Ramakrishna came after taking bath and sat on the bed. I said, it's too hot. Then he came, okay, I just put that coin to test you. But it's okay. It's nothing wrong to test. Okay. But make sure you learn from the test and move forward. You get benefit from the test. Don't get endless cycle of doubts. There may be something wrong there. Something wrong with you. Okay. You test few things. One, you are happy, go ahead. Okay, then you accept. You have a right to test, of course, yes. So this is the thing. Another thing is the quality what every seeker should have is called Seva Bhav. The feeling of service. Even if your guru is not asking for it, you can serve in whatever way we can. Okay, you can support, you can spread his teaching to others and, bring them in, not to bring them in, not physically. Motivate them that something is here so that other people also get benefited. Okay. And also you can give your service as a time, or you can, start something like meditation centers or something in your, whoever needs it to follow that. You can have some conduct satsang and call your, guru to, speak to them. What you can do means basically it is just spreading that awareness. Be part of it. So whether you can, afford to give this, somebody can say, okay, I don't have a time, but I can afford only in the money. So that money also, if given for the mission, okay, but to establish something, those are all those things. That is all so-called guru karya that followers can do, that to support the mission. Again, don't confuse with the personality. Don't say I'm doing it for him. No, you are doing it for the mission, for this channel to flow, for this Guru Tattva to flow. Okay. So this is the thing you should say. But first and foremost, love and gratitude. Have the connection. Without that, you will not receive anything. Doubting mind is the most dangerous thing. Keep the doubting mind in the testing period only. First few tests, after that, drop the mind altogether. Get fully connected, you'll benefit most. Okay.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay.
I feel every time, each and every time I feel connected, Guruji.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Supriya.
I think I had one question. Yeah. So, for people who like us, who I think I have been very lucky, and so all of us have been very lucky to be blessed by the Guru Mandala, graced by Guru, and yeah, reading scriptures and all, it's there, but I don't think it's something that if you don't do it, we don't feel any that we're missing out on anything because of all the things we do. But some very loved ones have not been as lucky. They have not been blessed by the Guru Mandala to be graced by a Guru. And I don't want to go into thinking why that happened to them, but it's certainly maybe it is not yet time for some. I get the hint that that what is there anything that is doable in such cases, or what is the right thing?
Your only
so many things, but
your only thing you can do is reach the message that this is available. That's all. No need to force anyone to come to spirituality. And as you said also, it is correct that everybody has their own time. Okay. Like a fruit has to ripe and then get detached from the tree. So you cannot make these things faster. Okay. You are in the family means you are in the same tree, different fruits. So some fruit will ripe faster, earlier. Some fruit will, ripe later. But that does not mean that fruit will not have its qualities. So no need to pressurize anyone to do anything which is not as per the natural way. Okay. But only thing is it is possible that many people by inside they're looking for something, they are not getting it. So in that way, only you have to, as you are already aware, you just take this message that it is available here. Okay. If they're interested, it is their choice to come to here. Normally, the way it is said that you have to take the message to the people. Don't bring people to here. Your guru's message you have to bring to the people. But let people come to the guru on their own. It is not your duty to bring those people to your guru. It will not work. Okay, you tell them that these are the things available. If as and when they are interested, they are welcome. And that's how it will work best. Okay, so that is the way forward. So, and your feeling about somebody should have been done better and all, but that is your analysis, right? So every soul has their own independent life path. So let them follow that, and they wanted to experience something else maybe in this life before coming to the spirituality. Let them have it. Okay, who are we to change life path for somebody? And this particular aspect, I am careful. And I teach this as don't play God. We are not. Okay, we have no right to change somebody else's path, no matter how good intentions we have. Only we can show them, if you are interested, here it is. That's all. Okay. But at the same time, you can always pray for them, you can protect them and things like that, whatever you can from your side. That always you can do. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Any other question?
Yes, Aarti. I also want to ask a question.
Yes, Sonika, go ahead.
While doing today's meditation, when we'll be connecting to moon, what if we'll not have 3 wishes to make? Like if I have only 1 wish, so only 1 wish I have.
Yeah, rest you say whatever in best interest, let that be manifested. What is in my best interest,
so
that you leave it to the source to decide.
Fine.
Okay.
The same wish.
That's what I was telling earlier. Okay. This is a spiritually smart move. Okay. Because sometimes we ask something that may not be in your best interest. Okay. So you can ask, leave it to the source. Okay. Whatever in my best interest, let that be manifested.
Okay.
Any other? Okay. Any other question? Vijay, we were asking earlier some questions. Now we said in the next session or something we'll discuss. What is that?
Guruji, that is not related with today's topic, but if you say, then I can ask.
Yeah, you can ask. We will answer that. No issues.
Guruji, थोड़ा सा जैसे whenever we are talking about the healing or something, then normally the first thoughts comes about our closed ones or ourselves. So this is a kind of detachment, isn't it? Because otherwise we should not think about first about ourselves. Like today's session also, when we will think about some wishes or asking something with the divine, first thing it will come about ourselves or our closed one, like that. So what is the reason, and when this will be diluted or dissolved?
No, you have taken this birth as a family for a certain reason. That is basically to settle your karmic account between these close family members. Okay. Only thing you have to drop is mine. Okay. My wife, my child, or my father, my mother, and this my business has to go. And why it need to go? Because it gives some kind of rubber stamp on the ownership of this relationship, which you don't, the truth. Everybody is following their own soul's path, soul's journey. Okay, you are just like a co-passenger for a certain time. So only thing in the spiritual path we learned as truth, that we are just co-passengers. No one owns anyone. So in that sense, I can only, just like when Supriya asked that question, I explained that you can only reach the message and leave it there. Whether you can actually do something, some change is happening or not happening is none of your business. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You pray for them, you think best for them, and your duty, whatever best you can, you do your duty and leave it there. You need not to be ideal. You need not to see that what actually they are facing it. Everybody come with their own soul's plan and they have to undergo that. No one can change that, in fact. Okay, unless they themselves start taking, attempts to do that, then it's a different issue. They also ultimately come to the spirituality, then life gets transformed. But that cannot be imposed from outside. Okay, you do your bit and leave it there. It's difficult to leave it there because of the attachment you have. But that is in their best interest. Okay, give them the freedom to walk their path their own way. That's why I was giving example of one tree has a different fruit. It ripes at a different time. So not necessarily when you expect that particular fruit to ripe, it is, is getting ripe at that time. It not necessarily be. Allow it to have its natural path, natural way to ripe. Okay, and also the earlier example I have given up, but everybody has got their own pace of walking. Let that person walk in their own pace. Allow that to happen. Okay, so that you are free, the other person is also free and comfortable. Okay, what you are doing it for the helping and best interest. If I pull that person, that the person can walk faster. That may not be in the best interest of that person to walk faster. Okay, this is just an understanding. Of course, every situation is a different case. It's not applicable everywhere. Time to time, we need to intervene. We need to take certain steps to things get corrected. But we have to do that if only there is a threat involved. It is going in the opposite direction. Then you have to forcefully stop it. Otherwise, as long as it's going, we have to support that as much as possible. Okay, Vijay?
Okay, Guruji, thank you.
Okay, God bless you. Okay, any other question?
Sir, I didn't have a question, but I wanted to express my gratitude for everything to you.
God bless you. God bless you, Vidya. All right, then we'll go into our second part of the process. So with Aarti and Om chanting, Guru Vandana, Aarti, and then the full moon meditation. So it is not 6-step meditation. It will be only the 6th step we will meditate. Then we'll go into that granting of the 3 wishes from Babaji to manifest 3 wishes. And then we conclude with the Shanti part. So I will just close my audio video here. I need to shift my laptop from here to my puja place. So just, yes, Shaival, you wanted to say something?
Yes, that's the direction of the moon. So last evening or night, our time, you were instructing those in India and maybe other parts of the world in the Eastern Hemisphere to kind of focus on the eastern sky, right?
Yeah.
But the moon has now moved to the, relatively, Earth is, because of the mutual revolution. Now it's on my west.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. But when we do this, you also look towards the east side. You are daytime now, right?
Yeah, east will be the sun, but I just checked the moon position is 290° west.
It doesn't matter because that is the direction of moonrise.
Okay.
In technical term, you will not be doing full moon meditation now. You'll be doing just meditation. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So don't bother where the moon is actually right now. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
That's why I kept special session for that, last night for you. So that you can connect to the moon. That time, the actual location of the moon was important.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay. And now it is not important. You just look at the east, even though the sun is there instead of moon. Doesn't matter. Okay.
So now, with your permission, can I share our experience from last night towards the end, or is it too early?
Okay. All right. Okay. Share it then.
So I'm not doubting anything. I got clarification from Rajdeep. So 3 of us, my wife and my younger daughter, were in the main level doing the meditation, and my elder daughter was upstairs in her bedroom. And towards the end, we heard distinctly the conch shells, like the Sankotin. So so I thought, in this country and so I thought it's me, my illusion. Then when we came out, my younger daughter and Sharmishta also said the same thing. Both of them heard that. So we clarified with Rajdeep last night. And I was thinking that someone in the group may have used the conch shell then as a mark of auspicious celebration. So if that's not the case, and Rajdeep confirmed also, he also didn't hear anything coming from the participants. I just wanted to share that with all of you. Thank you. Thank you for everybody's presence. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Okay, God bless you. So we'll now, I will just switch off my video for just a minute to arrange it, to shift it to the other side. So just give me a minute, 2 minutes to do that, and then we'll start with on my puja side. All right, we'll start with 3 Om chanting, then Guru Vandana, and after Guru Vandana, then we will do Aarti of Babaji. Babaji here in that, here. Okay, there are other photos of Babaji, also so many, but this is single photo of Babaji. We'll do the Aarti here. And then we will come back and sit for full moon meditation. And after that, the full moon meditation, you have to sit facing towards the direction of the moon. Particularly those who are in India, just find out where the moon is. You need not to see the moon directly. If you can see it, it is a better, but at least you sit in the direction of facing that moon. And then at one point of time, I will ask you to connect with the moon, means the third eye and the moon will be in the straight line, which will be connected. And then we'll do the process of manifestation at the end of the meditation. So that is the process here. And I will conclude our session with a Shanti Path. Okay. So first you find out where the moon is, which direction it is, and you have to sit there facing towards that direction. Those who are outside India, particularly in the US, so you sit towards facing the east. So no matter where the moon is, so you're just facing the east and do that same process. Okay. So all right. So we'll now start with this Guru Vandana, and then with Aarti, and And then we'll start our meditation session here. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्यापं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। Babaji, on this auspicious day of Guru Purnima, allow us to seek your blessings through this Aarti with our pure love and surrender and devotion. The deep gratitude is only we can offer now on your lotus feet. Kindly grant all of us their wishes today to be manifested into the life for their best interest. With this, we start our Aarti. Om Mangalam Omkar Mangalam Guru Mangalam Guru Pad Mangalam Om Mangalam Omkar Mangalam Guru Mangalam Guru Pad Mangalam Om Mangalam Omkar Mangalam Guru Mangalam Guru Pad Mangalam Om Mangalam Omkar Mangalam Guru Mangalam Guru Pad Mangalam. Now you sit down for full moon meditation. And connect with the moon, your third eye and the moon should be in one line. And be in Chin Mudra. So once we get connected to the moon, express our deep gratitude to the moon. And now, whatever I'm saying, utter these words while get connected to the moon. You are the witness of our soul's journey on this planet Earth. You are with me for lifetime after lifetime. From the mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom, to animal kingdom and the human birds. All the time you are being witnessing our activities, our lives on this planet Earth. You are the witness of all our karmic accounts, all our deeds, all our aspirations on the spiritual front and everything. We now request you to lift all the karmic burdens, whatever has been created, under your witness, to set us free for our ultimate spiritual journey towards enlightenment. And with your blessings, we shall start our meditation. At the end of it, we will request you to grant 3 wishes for our individual lives. May your divine blessings be always with us. Let this connection be always with us to guide our lives. Thank you. Now we shall be doing the 6th step of meditation, which is Vistarit Jagruta. Connect with your heart and feel the heartbeat internally. Now expand your awareness to immediate outside environment of your body. Feel where you kept your feet. Feel where you are sitting. Feel where you are resting your hands. Feel what is at your backside. Feel the air coming and touching your skin. Feel anything is happening at the top of your head, at Sahasrara. At the same time, be aware of your breath. Now go back to your feet again and start refreshing all these awareness points like a second round. Similarly, you can have more rounds, faster and faster every time. At one point of time, you'll be able to be aware of all these points simultaneously. And that is called multi-point awareness. Now expand your awareness away from your body with the help of sounds. Listen to all the sounds around you in the room you are sitting in. That sound can come from any direction, so rotate your awareness 360 degrees. Now expand your awareness to the other rooms of your house. Listen to any sound coming from there. Now expand your awareness outside your house. Listen to any sound coming from other houses of your neighborhood, other buildings of your neighborhood. Now keep rotating and expanding. Go to the streets. Listen to any traffic sound is coming. Likewise, keep expanding till you reach infinite in all directions. This is called expanded awareness state or Shiva Vyapti state. This is the state of your soul consciousness or inner guru. Now get guidance from your inner guru and explore this domain. There is infinite possibilities here. Based on your unique spiritual journey, you can meet with any higher dimensional masters, obtain any universal knowledge or Brahma Gyan, get guidance for your future. Now at this state, with the help of your inner guru, explore this domain and experience yourself. Next few minutes, there will be no verbal guidance from my side. All right. Now you rub your palms together and place them on your closed eyes. I shall count 10. Hold it till that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now give this energy to your face and all over your body. Now look at the moon and connect with your third eye. Now it is a manifestation of 3 wishes. With the blessings of Babaji, we'll get that manifested. Your third eye and the moon should be in the same line. Now get ready for manifestation of the first intention. So what you need to do, you have to bring both of your hands in the line connecting between your third eye and the moon. And in your hand, you intend there is a bubble, energy bubble is coming in your hand, and that energy bubble contains your intention. So whatever your intention is, put that into that bubble. Then I will make a small prayer to Babaji, then you just release it towards the moon, assuming that bubble is like a balloon. Suppose if there is a balloon, you wanted to, like children, they play, they lift it in the air, like that you release the bubble. So first thing is get connected with the moon with your third eye, and in that line you bring both of your hands together. Now intend that energy bubble is there in your hands. And now you concentrate on the bubble and give the intention, the first intention you like to manifest. Babaji, kindly grant this intention to the best interest of all individual participants of this ritual. Let the divine be done. So be it, so be it, so be it. Thank you. Now release the intention towards the moon. Thank you. Now get ready for the second intention. Connect with your third eye with the moon. Bring your hands together in that same line. Now intend that energy bubble is there. And now put your intention into the bubble. The second intention, what you want to manifest in your life. Make sure you are not thinking about anything else. You're fully concentrated on that intention and focused on that bubble. Babaji, kindly grant this intention and manifest the result instantly. So be it, so be it, so be it. Thank you. Now release the bubble now. Thank you. Now get ready for third and last intention to be manifested. If you have more than one intentions left, then package them all together and put it into the third. Connect with the moon with your third eye. Bring both of your hands back again in the same line between third eye and the moon. And intend that energy bubble is there on your hands. And put the third intention into it with fully focused attention into this bubble. Babaji, kindly grant this intention to be manifested instantly, and kindly bless all of us so that we can walk the path towards a liberation with your loving guidance and protection. So be it, so be it, so be it. Thank you. Now release the bubble now. Thank you. Now we shall chant Shanti Path for global peace and harmony and earliest recovery from this pandemic. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनो, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Om Mangalam. That completes our session today.